Hello, welcome back to the ETF Inspector. It's Monday, May 12th, about 9 o'clock at night, and we're going to be talking about the trades and holdings for ULTY, YieldMax Ultra Option Income Strategy ETF that were performed today. I'm trying to get through this fairly quickly, so right off the bat, I'm not ready. Never mind, I was ready. Sorry. Okay, we'll start out with how the holdings did, how the actual positions or shares held in each individual stock performed, and then we'll move to the trades that took place today. Unless you were living under a rock, you know that stocks went through the roof for the most part. There's just a couple that had a bad day, and boy did they. But in general, I guess there were... I've dig into the ETF a lot, but I don't dig into the news a lot. But I think I heard that we either came to a deal or a temporary deal in our trade war with China. It's on pause, so the whole 145% tariffs are on pause, and clearly the market liked that. So we're looking at, let's see, obviously Bull had a bad day, but 5 seems to be our high, 11% up on First Solar. I think there was an even bigger, 16% on RH. 10, 12 on the triples. Remember, we talked about how it wasn't going to take much for those to blow through their calls. 12% on the upstart. And we'll go. All right, so 16 on RH seems to be the high. So, all right, so we'll just go by if you haven't seen this before. So I'm not going to wipe out any of this information on the left because I like it there so the calculation can compare and show you the percentage changes. So understand that, let's see, I believe, yeah, so the percent in or out of the money is up to date, right? Because that is going off of today's closing price. So we'll see how much change in market value, but it will not actually impact the actual market value until I move these over after the video is over. So this is not the correct net assets or NAV, net asset value. So we'll get started. AST Space Mobile went up almost 5.5% to 2716, increasing in $455,000. Right off the bat, that's putting our largest call in jeopardy. It's in the money already. Next one, Alibaba, up 5.76% to 132.55. Again, the call is now in the money. It's going to cost us to close it if it doesn't come back down. Up over $500,000 in value. Webull, that's the new one they just added at the end of the last week. They actually lost 14%, almost $1 million in value, $928,000. On the bright side, the call is so far out of the money. I believe they actually closed it today and opened a new one. Kava Group, up 5.1%, $434,000 value added at $98.74. Luckily, that one was way out of the money for it to still be out of the money. Coinbase, sorry, it's kind of annoying scrolling back and forth, but the feedback I got was that people couldn't really see on the screen and they wanted me to zoom in and make larger fonts. So we're going to have to deal with moving back and forth. They went up 3.96%, $363,000. 207.22 is the new strike or the new closing price, and it's still 2.5% out of the money. Carvana, that's the one that they shrunk. They reduced their position by 50% last week. Went up 4.29% to 279.62. Value increased to 287,000. Calls are still looking okay. This one's just our treasuries. First Solar's next, up 11%. Now I thought we saw a different number. We did. 156.21. Maybe I didn't get the information at the right time. 156.21. Oh, First Solar. I'm confusing it with RH. Sorry. Okay, 11% to 156.21. Calls are now 7% in the money. That hurts, but up 700,000. So as you can see, right? So we made 700 actually. Okay, we made 700,000, but we're gonna see that this is gonna cost a whole lot more. Like I said, these values are not updated, not until I update the holdings afterwards. But if I updated them before to make that work, then this would show 0%. So is what it is. Hims and Hers up 6.25% to 55.21 and $893,000 in value added. Robinhood up 5.09% to 57.43, $600,000 added. Again, this already is moving our calls out in the money. IONQ up 5.18% to 32.89, increased by over $500,000. Fortunately, they went pretty far out on that call, 35, so we're still out of the money. Mara up 1.2% to 15.95, still out of the money, $118,000 in value added. MP Materials Corp down 3.69% to 21.14, $226,000 lost. MicroStrategy, now I thought that they were up in the pre-market, but I guess they turned around, so they lost 2.68%. So they're at 404.90 and a loss of $422,000. Nvidia up 5.44% to 123 even, $648,000 in value added. Oklo up 2.71% to 28.85, gain of 228,000. These calls are still out of the money, looking good. I skipped it. Nvidia's in the money, so you'll see they generally don't make a ton of trades on Mondays, even if things go bad against them. But if they continue throughout the week, they'll roll them. But they're hoping maybe we'll get a little pullback on some of these that popped. Palantir up just under 1% to 118.46, gain of $153,000. Reddit up 2.54% to 111.21, gain of $275,000. Rigetti up 9.17% to 11.55. So we just started these last week, and I think it was actually the Friday before that we added those. They're already 10% in the money. I think that's another one that got traded today. 339,000 value added. RH had the biggest move on the day, 16.35% up to 226. The calls are now 10% in the money, but it increased our value by 650,000. SMCI, Supermicro Computer Inc., up 4.78% to 33.52, $206,000 value added. It's still out of the money by a little bit, 1.4%. Definitely not feeling as good as we were before the market opened today with how far out of the money our positions were. Snowflake, that's another new one, up 3.68% to 180.54, gain of 288,000. Again, now we're real close, 1% out of the money. And then the 3 times leveraged funds of TNA and TQQQ. So if the market has a good day, the triples have a great day. So 10.5% up to 30.61. These calls are in the money, but we made over $1 million on this one, and up 12% on TQQQ to 66.11. Made 1 3/4, getting close to $2 million added. So that's real nice. But we're gonna pay a pretty penny to close these out. Tesla up 6.75%. They went through their call strike as well. 318.38. Another gain of almost $1 million. 925. Upstart Holdings had a great day, 12.27% to 52.96. Again, calls blew right through the strike on the calls that we sold. Gain of 1.279 million. Vertiv Holdings up 7.43% to 101.05. $500,000 added. And Vistra Corp up 7.62% to 146.09. Again, all these blew through their the call strikes. gain of $723,000. So overall, heck of a day. The value of the stocks held within the fund went up by $12.3 million. So that's nice. It helps. But it hurts because we'd like it to move a little slower so we don't blow through the calls and have to pay to close them. We'd love for the value to go up and get to keep the premium, but I don't know. I guess it's better than everything dropping too fast. That was actually current as of Friday, so here, let's get it real quick just to see. Check the holdings real quick, just see if there's more. 45.8, so it did go up again. Yep, so another 400,000. All right, but again, that's not right because it hasn't had the $12 million of value added to there. But ULTY closed at 619, so I mean it's nice when we get a weekly dividend and we get the value of the fund going up at the same time. So let's look at the trades. It was a kind of small trade day, as Mondays should be, so that's pretty nice. So I changed the way that I'm displaying this just to make my life a little bit easier. It takes a ton of time to take the downloaded information and put it into my spreadsheet. So what I did was change the order of things around a little bit just so I can kind of copy and paste the whole thing and place it in there. It saves me a ton of time. Hopefully you guys don't hate it, but let me know. So they only traded Rigetti and Webull. So they closed out the 1050. They had to close out the 1050 call. They paid $1.54 per share on 3,500 contracts. So they spent over $500,000 closing that out. They sold the puts, 3 cents. And then they opened another at 130 and bought the put at 95. But then they also bought an insurance policy. So we moved from a 1050 call sold to a 13. But then they protected themselves by so this part's considered a collar, right? So they sold short a call at 13 and they bought a put at 950. So that kind of protects the value of their shares that they have in case they go down because they bought the put, and that'll go up in value to offset it. But they're trying to make money selling the calls and hoping that they expire worthless and getting to keep that 161,000. But they got an insurance policy because calls just keep getting blown through lately. So they paid 50,000 or 49,000, basically to stop the bleeding in case it blows through their calls again at 1550. Overall, that trade cost them $462,000. Webull, basically the same thing. Not the same thing. What do we got? I don't understand why it should have ordered them the opposite way since they closed these and opened these, but I'm guessing since we moved down, this having a lower price is the reason that it came in that way. Anyway, so they both times they kept it within the same week, right? 516 for 516. But on this one, they closed out their calls at 19 because we saw Webull dropped big time. So they only had to pay 22 cents. So right off the bat, they got a win. Right, if we go back to starting Webull right at the end of last week, we sold them for $308,000. And we got to buy them back for $88,000. So that worked out well. And then same thing, we bought the puts to go along with them for $220,000 and sold them for $528,000. So we won on both sides of that big time. But they're still trying to capture some more profits within the week. So then they sold another one at 17 and then bought the put at 12. that kind of helped offset the losses from Rigetti. So for the day, and then I'll explain this in just a second. For the day, they went up in value over 12 million, and then in trades they made 70,000. So it was a win for the day. I don't understand why that is a 45. I wrote that in as the date, 5/12/25, and it thinks it's a number. So I'll just switch that to the date real quick. Okay. Now, our previous understanding was if Declaration Day was Wednesday, then the last trading day that worked towards the estimate was Tuesday. But if you guys watched Rod's video, Return on Dividends video today, where he interviewed the Misty fund manager and the YieldMax, I don't know what his title is, I don't know how to pronounce his last name either, but they give us a lot of nice information, and part of it was that on all of them, they make the decision on Monday morning. So the last trade that goes towards the upcoming distribution is Friday. So it really is the Monday to Friday trades, and then on Monday they make the decision. They have to put it out to the market and everything like that, and then on Wednesday they actually announce it. But so now that we know it's based on the trades from Monday through Friday of the previous week, I went ahead and ungrayed out these, and so now the combination of Monday through Friday right here resulted in a $1.4 million gain, and that's between value of stock going up and sales. Now, with that being said, if we divide that out by the amount of outstanding shares, it comes out to a 3-cent dividend or distribution. I don't think they're going to pay 3 cents. So your guess is as good as mine. You can put in the comments what you think. I mean, they seem to have been running 8s and 9s a lot. Not really getting below that. Seemed like we were going above it, but this one doesn't come out to be much money made. So do you think they've got a little bit reserve in the tank for times like this so they can pay out more, or do you think we're going to get a 3-cent dividend? I think that would be ugly if we did. But until we get more of these and I get to see what they do when the estimate comes out this low, I don't really have a way of making a better guess, like seeing if they have like some sort of if they go based off of their IV or something like that. So for right now, I'm going to say they made enough money to pay us 3 cents, and I sure hope that they got some in the tank to pay us extra. But all right, that's it. I also have some good news, maybe, if you're interested. The first video I ever made on some of the individual income stocks with AMDY, AMZY, a bunch of those like that. Now that I've kind of got the hang of things, I can move through things and do the work a little faster. I'm picking them back up. So I'm going to create a second video, and it's going to be based off of those individual stocks. I'm going to keep the ULTY video as its own. So if you liked everything, please like, share, comment. Please subscribe. It helps me out, and it's free for you. So it's a win for both of us. All right. The joke of the week. I promised. Some people said I need to learn the singing from Rod, and I promised I wouldn't sing because that's not my thing. But then I said today's dad joke requires a little bit of singing. So I'll embarrass myself on here if you stuck around for it. So today's dad joke is, my wife asked me to quit singing that song, I'm a Believer. And I thought she was kidding at first, but then I saw her face. Yeah, that's pretty stupid. All right. Have a great night, and hopefully we have another good trading day tomorrow. Thanks.